Back to this morning's breaking news. The protest group Just Stop Oil have continued to wreak havoc this morning by targeting several locations on the M25 motorway, bringing traffic to a standstill after climbing overhead bridges for the third day in a row. They've also been joined this morning by Animal Rebellion, who are calling for everybody to move over to a vegan diet. Essex police have confirmed an officer was injured while stopping a protester, and in a separate incident, the demonstration is believed to have led to a lorry collision.
Are these climate activists a danger now to society? Joining us now, Fraser Myers, who's Deputy Editor for Spiked Online, and a spokesperson for Just Stop Oil, Sam Johnson. Very good morning to you both. Thank you for coming in. Sam, I suppose if you have police officers injured and lorry drivers involved in collisions, the question answers itself. This is a danger now.
Well, good morning, Susanna. Good morning, Ed. Look, I'm a bloke from Essex. I've worked in construction my whole life, and now I find myself, like everybody else, in this truly crazy situation. Your viewers deserve to know that this disruption will end as soon as the government makes a statement that it will stop all new oil and gas.
That sounds a bit like a threat.
It's not a threat.
Well, it is a threat.
We're in a serious situation.
You're going to demonstrate and cause disruption and hardship and accidents until the government does what you say they should do. As a threat.
This week, Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, has said that we're on a highway to climate hell.
But he's right.
He is right. And
But he wouldn't support, I don't think, what you're suggesting.
Our government has broken its own climate laws.
What?
The UK government has broken its own climate laws. The laws are there to protect the British citizens, and the government has broken them.
Look, the fact of the matter is that we have people this morning out doing exceptionally dangerous things, even to themselves. You know, we see people on bridges, on gantries. It's a huge distraction to people who are trying to drive safely. You might have an issue with the cars that they're driving, but we have the evidence this morning, a collision and injuries. I'm not sure that threatening to continue that sort of, disruption is a polite way of calling it, by saying this is going to carry on until you do what we say. Surely negotiating is a better way forward than threatening.
We would be happy to negotiate with the government if the government want to speak to us, because they say it's our demand. I mean, this is the demand that everyone wants. We know we need to make a transition to renewable energies. We know that carrying on with gas and oil losses is a death sentence to us all.
The thing which is so strange about this, though, normally with a campaign tries to build support amongst the public. I mean, Martin Luther King was very careful with his non-violent direct action to build public support. The suffragettes, the same.
Can I interrupt with the Martin Luther King?
No, but you are losing support. The polls say that people don't support your campaign, and Ed, you're carrying on.
Ed, Martin Luther King was the most hated man in the United States of America. At the time, he was the most hated man in the United States of America.
He was a
Where did you get the polling on that?
He was a hero who built support.
People can check that out. They can look it up.
What are you talking about?
That is a fact.
He was the most hated man in America. He was hated by some people.
No,
he was hated by police officers
in 1 year.
who brutalised protesters by causing violence on the streets, which is, to be honest, something that you should learn from.
People can check that out, but that is true. What we need
You're losing public support. Our polling shows the public don't support what you're doing. You are making it harder for sensible people who want to tackle climate change to pursue the right agenda, because what you do is alienate the public by acting in a violent way, losing public support. You are setting back the task of tackling climate change. You're making things worse.
That's not true.
It is true.
A recent poll.
You're losing public support.
Ed, if you're asking me a question here, or are you just ranting at me?
I'm asking you whether you're losing public support.
No, a recent poll said that 2/3 of people in the UK support non-violent direct action.
I do. Of course, people should demonstrate.
But that's going up. That's going up.
But I don't think the polling shows
dear.
that people support action which causes injuries to people who are trying to protect us, that people support stopping nurses getting home from 12-hour shifts, stopping people getting to cancer appointments on the M25, and that's what's happened in the last 48 hours. Let's talk to somebody who takes a very different view, Fraser Myers, Deputy Editor, Spiked Online. Look, the cause is just, Fraser. What's your issue with it?
Well, I think Just Stop Oil is not so much concerned about climate change as hysterical and apocalyptic about climate change. And this is what is driving some of this, I think, frankly, cult-like behaviour.
You call it a cult?
It resembles a cult. I don't think it is a cult. I think, it's starting to move away from a kind of protest movement because, as you've just pointed out, they don't care if the public are on side. They don't seem to care if they mess around the public and inconvenience people, and if people, lose work or get injured. And they're clearly not winning people over to their cause. And also, it is, let's be honest, straying away from the hard science here. We're talking about, he was talking about oil being a death sentence, these new oil fields. They're not a death sentence. We know why the government's doing it. It's because there's a catastrophic energy crisis. The IPCC doesn't say things like what Extinction Rebellion co-founder says, that climate change is going to kill 6 billion people. That's not the science. That's a doomsday narrative that has no relationship to reality. But unfortunately, that is what seems to be driving this kind of action.
The energy crisis is caused by oil and gas. That's what's causing it. Renewables...
By shortage of oil.
No, renewables...
By Putin's invasion of Ukraine.
No, renewables are 9 times cheaper. The largest solar farm in the UK was rolled out in 6 weeks. You've got an energy source that's 9 times cheaper. Would your viewers prefer an energy bill land on their doormat for like £3,600 or an energy bill for £400? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a just transition to renewable energies.
Sam, you talk about... Look, the point is that everybody is concerned about climate change, and we all want measures to be introduced which, make sure that people don't suffer. But we're talking about your tactics. And, you came in and said it's going to, there's no question about it. We're going to carry on with all the awful consequences for people trying to get to work, nurses trying to get home from long shifts, people trying to get to hospital appointments. You're saying, don't care about that because we're going to do it anyway. It's a threat. You also said the public's on your side, but the latest polling from YouGov says that they asked the question, do your sympathies lie more with the climate change protesters or the motorists who are being stopped on the M25? 8% sympathise with you, 52% sympathise with the motorists. That is not getting people on your side. This tactic is not getting people on your side. And surely you need a groundswell of people on your side.
I would totally agree. Yeah, of course the sympathy should be with the people that are disrupted. This is civil resistance. It is in its nature, it's very disruptive. And it's not nice. It's not nice.
So you don't want people on your side?
It's not that we don't want people on our side. I'm not going to pretend that this is nice and people are having their days ruined. But what we need to do is we need to stop talking about what we're doing and then why we're doing it. Because the why is really important. It's a really important question to ask.
The trouble is people are distracted by what you're doing.
We can talk about
it's become the distraction. And they're not
want to win a campaign,
but that's the
making
media.
people hate you in order to win a campaign is not good. It's not a good way to proceed.
Ed and Susanna, the media always want to talk about the what. We need to put the why. A good friend of mine...
Have you watched this programme?
No.
Right, OK, so you don't have any idea what this programme does. You have no idea who our meteorologist is, Laura Tobin, who's one of the most outspoken people on climate change, who has written an entire book talking about what we each need to do as individuals on climate change. And you have the audacity to come on here and say that we're completely distracted. We're not talking about the issues. We talk about them every single morning, Sam. You're not getting people on your side, including people who would naturally be sympathetic to your cause. Sorry, and I'm going to end it there because you've already said you don't watch and you don't care. Sam, thanks very much indeed. And Fraser, thanks very much indeed. Well, we have the weather forecast now with our expert. Here's Laura.